I am Marwan Cameron, and this is the Conduit Podcast. All right, y'all, it is Thursday night. Time for another show. Got a great interview tonight. Looking forward to it. We have Jasmin Hernandez. Going to be a really important one tonight. So I hope you can join us. Hope your day was good. We're going to go deep tonight. Conversation about homelessness. We have spoken with a lot of folks that work with the homeless population. We've spoken with people who have experienced homelessness. And now we're going to speak to someone who is currently homeless. Again, the Conduit is about providing voice to those that don't typically have a voice. There's so many voices out there in the world. We want to ensure that everyone is heard. Solutions to our problems likely lie in hearing from everyone. So my hope is that you'll join us and you will gain some insight, some introspection, and possibly some solutions on how we can go forward and make changes in our community. So she is coming to us here in about 2 minutes. So that will be really exciting. Tomorrow we will have another show at 6:30 promptly. So join us then. Hopefully you did get a chance to look at the podcast from yesterday, which was about my Scali. As I said before, there is an opportunity to earn $1,000. Stay connected here to find out more information. Once that actually happens, that will be exclusively on YouTube. So you're going to want to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And you can just type in my name, which is Marwan Cameron. I'm putting that in the chat. Go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. Go ahead and set yourself up to get the alerts so you don't miss it. You will not want to miss that, okay? And as I said, that will be happening shortly. I am literally just waiting on confirmation, okay? So again, just type my name and you will see the Conduit. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. All right, so that is there for you. I see people already joining, so thank you. Again, if you are joining on Facebook, please make sure you join us over on YouTube, as I have so many more contacts over here at Facebook. You know, you kind of have to go to where the people are, but we do want to migrate folks over to YouTube. And eventually I'll get this Instagram thing going. One day, at some point in time. I don't know when that's going to happen. I will do the best I can to get it going. But, new technologies, new platforms, kind of hard to keep up with. They're ever changing, so we got to do what we got to do. So as I said, Jasmin Hernandez is our interview this evening. She should be on shortly. She's actually waiting in the waiting room to be admitted. So we're going to go ahead and let her in here in a hot second. And then we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So let's go ahead and get her in the room. All right, so she is coming online now, which is awesome. How you doing there, Jasmin? Can you hear me? You may be muted there.
There
you go. Perfect. How's it going?
It's going. How are you?
You know what? I can't complain. I'm blessed and highly favored, so that is definitely a good thing, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, how are you doing? How's your day going?
My day's going okay, I guess.
Okay.
Could be better, but could be worse.
Well, you want to talk about it?
Um, let's see. My van, for starters.
Are you having trouble with trying to get it repaired?
I got it partially repaired. The CV shaft finally is installed new, but now I have almost no brakes.
Oh wow. So if it's not one
Yeah,
thing, it's
so that,
another.
yeah, literally, if it's not one thing, it's another. It just comes in rolls of waves.
And when it rains, it pours, huh?
Oh, yeah, but I got to keep staying optimistic.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's going to fail.
that is absolutely the truth. So we're gonna get started here in just a second. We're gonna let some more folks come in the room here. I see that there are a few people in here watching. A lot of folks have already liked the interview coming up, so hopefully they will join us and get going. So while we do that, why don't you give us just a little bit of backstory? Who is Jasmin? Just kind of give us kind of your basic statistics before we kind of really get in deep in the interview. Who are you? Who's
uh,
Jasmin Hernandez?
a mom who lost her kids, then trying to get back on her feet, trying to get back where normal society would put me.
Were you born in Bremerton? Do you
I'm
come from somewhere
born in
else?
California,
California. Okay. How'd you end up here?
Indio, California.
Okay.
I moved up here when I was 10. My
Oh wow.
mom and my siblings brought us up here. Uh,
See, that's really
spent
interesting. I came up
most
here
of
when
my
I was
life
9.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent most of my life here from 10 to 17, moved back to California for a while, and then came back in 2007.
Okay. What made you come back?
Um, my husband at the time, he had 3 children from a previous marriage, and they were up here.
Okay.
So, in order for him to be part of his family, we wanted to be closer to the children. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense for sure. So do you like Bremerton?
um, I don't hate Bremerton, but Bremerton has a lot of downfalls,
Gotcha.
that I just want to get away from here.
And we're definitely going to get into that as we, go forward in our interview for sure. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot to get into. So why don't we do this first? Why don't we go through the questions that I kind of ask everyone, and it's okay if you start weaving kind of your personal story in between the questions that are applicable, and then we'll finish off the interview kind of talking about your personal situation and talking about things that are passionate to you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right. So the first question that I have for you, and again, this is the Conduit with Marwan Cameron. Tonight, my guest is Jasmin Hernandez. So thankful that you can join us, Jasmin, and so thankful to all of our audience folks. There may be people that will type questions or comments in the chat, so I'll go ahead and read those out as they come in. But my first question for you is, what does Black History mean to you, or Black History Month? We know we're into mid-March right now. February is a pretty short month, and it's past, but we still want to, have a conversation about that. So what does it mean to you?
Black history means people having the right, same right as everybody else, being able to cohabitate and actually be part of history.
Absolutely.
I don't quite understand the segregation between the two, but should have never been there, in my personal opinion. But it has, and I think definitely have a place in history.
Well, let me ask you this as kind of a secondary question. What can we do to kind of move forward from, because your comment was it should have never been there. So what kinds of things can we do to try to rectify that or fix it?
stop separating people. Stop. Just because the color of your skin don't mean nothing. You still bleed the same blood.
Oh, that's
There's
facts.
no reason to be treated any different.
Facts for sure, for sure.
That's the main thing, is treat everybody the same.
All right,
Nobody's any different from another.
I can get behind that for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into some of our big overarching kind of conversations. We know that nationally there are huge issues with homelessness. We know that we've got an issue here in our county. As you know, I kind of spoke to the audience previously. You are currently homeless, and so this is a very important topic to you. But what can be done to reduce homelessness, either from a national level or here locally? What are your thoughts and opinions on that?
There are so many things that could be done to reduce the homelessness. Um, One of the main things is housing. Make enough housing available at decent prices where we can actually afford it. That's one of the main things, is making the housing affordable.
Yeah,
It's
go ahead.
outrageous how many houses are empty right now around here that could very well house somebody that is homeless,
Hmm.
but they just don't want to have the right price.
Yeah, you know, there were a lot of factors. I think I have the stats right here because you and I were actually in a meeting the other day, and I was talking about some information that I do want to share with everyone. And this comes by the way of the Kitsap County Department of Human Services. This was a study done in October of 2019, and what they were saying is that rents are rising each year, and the average rent per unit in Kitsap County in March of 2019 had increased by 9%, and from 2018, uh, and 48% since 2015. So back in October of 2019, they're saying that the average rent is $1,400, right? So if you take, if you just say 50%, that they're saying basically 6 years ago, 2015, right? Not even a full 6 years, because we're only into 2021 right now. Average rent was $700. So it is literally increased by quite a bit, right?
Oh yeah, it's outrageous.
That's huge. Or should I say rents were more like 1,000? Because if it's 50%, then it would make it to 1,400. But that's a huge increase, and we don't have any adjustable wages for inflation or cost of living, and so that's a huge problem. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I don't even know where to start on that one. I really don't. The jobs that are out here, the wages are too small. You have to have more than one job in order to afford the rent. And even then, families are having a hard time doing that. So how are we supposed to survive out here? We can't
Absolutely.
make enough money to be able to afford a home, but we're driving ourselves into the ground with how many jobs we're trying to work.
I think it's really important. Um, do you mind telling your story on how you ended up homeless, how you are where you are right now? Because I think it's very salient and relevant to what we're trying to address and bring attention to, and ultimately find solutions, and try to get to the crux of what the issue is. And as I said before you came on, we've spoken with people that work in the community, that work with the homeless population and are trying to deal with the issues that exist. We've talked to people that have been previously homeless, but this is the first conversation with someone who is currently homeless. And so your perspective is probably almost more important than anyone else's perspective at this point. How did you end up where you are right now today?
Well, failed marriage, got into a relationship with another guy, ended up getting evicted from the place that I moved into with him about a month and a half after moving in with him. Um, so it was me, him, his son, and my 4 children,
Okay.
all homeless, living in a suburban.
Wow.
And they were still going to school. I was going to school. And actually, a program through West Sound Tech or West Sound Treatment Center, sorry.
Okay.
They have a program called Forward Bound. They were fortunate enough to put us into housing.
Okay. Can you
It
talk
was a
about that program? I think it's important for folks that don't know what programs existed or currently exist that are out there and kind of how they function and your experience as you kind of navigate through these programs. Do you mind kind of talking about that as you go? Because most people have no idea.
Forward Bound was through the West Sound Treatment Center, and it was for families that have multiple barriers or chronic homelessness.
Okay.
And it it was a wonderful, wonderful program. I wasn't particularly in it. My other half at the time was. And so I don't know too much about it. I just know that they were able to help our family through getting us into a little 1-bedroom apartment, 7 people in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 kids, 2 adults. And we were there for a couple months, and then they were able to find us a 3-bedroom.
Now, Jasmin, when was this?
Um, it was the kids were taken away in February of 2015. So I want to say back in November of 2014 is when it started.
Okay. All right.
We moved into the 3-bedroom in January of 2015.
So you were in the one
And
bedroom for like 2 months then?
yeah,
And the reason why I'm asking that is I think that there are like some kind of laws that are in place where only a certain amount of people can be in a unit. Is that true? And you know, if there's boys and girls, you know, they have to have, you know, their own bedroom and things like that, those challenges.
yes, they do have to be in separate bedrooms after the age of, I believe it was 3.
Okay. And
Um,
so how were they able to do that back then? Is it something that the law changed or that you
no,
know of, or what made
no,
that
laws
okay?
didn't change. They were just really trying to help our family out and trying to get us in out of the suburban. We had a broken window. It was
Hmm.
winter time. Um, Kids were freezing. We were freezing, and they were just trying to get us under a roof,
Right.
trying to get
And please
somewhere for the kids to be able to be.
please forgive me. I'm gonna cut you off a lot because I don't know your story, and I think that a lot of people will have these questions, right? But for me, it's like, so wait a minute. Government laws and policy says, you know what? If the child is over the age of 3 or the age that you stated, and if they're opposite sex, they can't be in the same room. But you can be in a suburban altogether. You know, that's okay, or you can
I
be
know
in
it
the
makes
street,
no
right?
sense to me.
So it just seems like from a logical perspective, yes, it would be ideal if everyone could have their own bedrooms and opposite sex and this, that, and the other. But ultimately, the shelter is the most important thing, right?
Yes, very
Okay.
much so.
So I'm gonna just apologize up front for cutting you off, and I'm gonna apologize to the audience. I'm not trying to be rude to Jasmine. It's just I wanna ask those questions as they come out because I don't think that those questions often get asked, and we don't think about it that way because again that's where I think the solution lies, right? So maybe that's a broken policy where it's like, look, all right, you're saying that a family of 4 has to be in a 3-bedroom if there's a boy and a girl, or a 2-bedroom if there's a boy and a girl, um, but ultimately, if you're getting them off the street and getting them stabilized in a place, then convert the dining room, convert the living room, do what you have to do, but get that family stabilized, right? Uh, to me, that seems logic. And if there's anyone listening that has a knowledge or understanding on why that can't be, please type in the chat so we understand. But otherwise, let's get that information out there because again, that's where the solutions may lie. Go ahead and continue, Jasmine.
So they were able to finally get us into the 3-bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
and it was going good. Uh, Unfortunately, in February um, of 2015, I ended up losing my children to CPS. Uh, we were dealing with a bout of head lice that just would not go away.
Mm.
Unfortunately, we were uh, having visits with their father, who had it and didn't know.
Okay.
So every time I'd get rid of it, he'd come and visit, and it'd come right back.
Mm.
So that was one of the issues we were battling. And then, unfortunately, drug abuse was an issue.
Okay.
Um, the kids were taken away in February, and because we did not, we no longer had our children in our home,
Mm-hmm.
we were in breach of the family obligations contract. And in April, we had to move out of our home.
So let me get
We
this
lost.
straight. So you have your children, you get put into a home. Was there already substance abuse that was there that everyone knew about?
Not that everyone knew about.
Okay.
Uh,
Did the agencies that were helping you, were they cognizant of that at the time?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're cognizant of the fact, and back in 2014, I don't think housing first was a concept that had taken on, but so CPS comes, you're doing the best that you can, you're battling drug addiction, you've got um, the natural father coming in to visit the kids, but is continuously bringing lice in. CPS comes, removes the children. You're struggling, and kind of as a go ahead and continue to struggle, we're going to go ahead and now put you out because you're in violation because you don't have your kids, so you don't need a house, right? So good luck getting clean out there in the street, but that's where we're putting you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was just a kicker that just made it things go really sideways in my relationship with my other half, in my life, just because I deal with severe anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
severe depression, or, well, they call it dysthymic disorder.
Okay.
It's a low mood disorder. Um, it just made things even worse. And for the first 9 months of being homeless, it was sleeping bag and concrete wherever I could fall asleep downtown Bremerton.
Mm.
I didn't have places where I could go and couch surf.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have places that I could just go kick it through the night. When I got tired, when I finally wasn't able to stay up anymore, I slept on the beach at Evergreen. I slept, me and my other half, we slept, let's see, in the bushes at Evergreen, behind a closed down building on 11th and Park. We actually got an illegal camping ticket on back in 2016 for just sitting behind this building on 11th and Park with our sleeping bag down, so we weren't on the cold concrete. We were just sitting there with all of our stuff next to us.
Wow.
And the cop rolls up and says, "Well, it looks like you're in possession of camping paraphernalia. That is a citable offense." And I just looked at the officer and I go, "Are you serious?" He goes, "Yes, it is citable. You can get a ticket." I said, "Just give me my ticket, officer, and please, I'll be on my way."
Was there any kind of offer of maybe you should go here for help or anything like that? Any suggestions there?
He offered nothing. Mind you, we'd fall asleep behind that building several times over the previous couple months. Um, Behind Safeway on Calla, we'd fallen asleep. Just anywhere we could find that was somewhere we could lay our head. But even then, we were harassed by employees of different places, by the cops, by everybody. Couldn't sleep. So we continued to get high. If we can't sleep, we can't stay warm, we're going to turn to drugs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are listening to The Conduit with Marwan Cameron. My guest tonight is Jasmin Hernandez. We have several people in the chat that are responding. Shaylin Houston says yes and wow. And then she has an angry emoji. Shout out to Cynthia Brady. She said, did anyone, even CPS, offer help for substance use and other programs to rebuild and unite you and your family?
Um, I had actually gotten clean a couple different times throughout fighting for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, went to detox, tried in, tried inpatient, all those things. But at the end of the day, I had nowhere to go when I was done. It was right back out on the streets. Nobody could offer me housing. Nobody could offer me somewhere to stay. And it always ended up at the same thing.
So let me understand. You go to treatment for like 30 days, and after treatment is over, it's like, okay, you're clean, you've made it through the program. You know, it's time for you to go. There's no housing. You're just back out on the street.
Yeah, basically. And it makes it impossible to stay clean that way. I don't know how many times that I cried myself to sleep because I just wanted to be clean. I just wanted my kids to be home with me. I just wanted a home for them to come home to. The most messed up thing was I ended up relinquishing my rights. August of 2016.
So you went through this for 2 years, and in 2016, you relinquished your rights. Why did you do that?
It was at the termination hearing, and the CPS worker had looked at me and said, it doesn't matter how many days you have clean. You don't have a home to bring these kids home to. You are no closer to being a viable adult, a viable parent than the day we took them. You can either sign over your rights and have some sort of contact, some sort of information on your children, whatever the adoptive parents choose to do, or we're going to go into court today and you're going to lose your rights. Your rights will be terminated and you will have nothing to do with your children until they turn 18.
That doesn't sound like much of a choice.
So I had the most difficult decision to make in my life, and the hardest one ever.
Did you have representation or counsel?
I had counsel. Part of the way through my fight with them, I had requested a different counsel because the one I had, she wasn't doing her job. She would look at me during court hearings and ask me what was going on with the case. And I asked for a different attorney 4 times. Finally, 2 weeks before my termination hearing, I am appointed another attorney.
Wow. And what were they doing on your behalf? How are they trying to advocate for you?
They weren't. They weren't doing much of anything.
Cynthia says, while you were in your housing, when they first took your children, they should have stepped in and worked with you and your family to rebuild it, and they should have worked with housing.
They should have. And throughout the whole fight with CPS, I had been told through numerous agencies and numerous people that CPS can offer you Section 8. They can offer you housing. My CPS worker, he didn't do that. I had asked him several different times. He said, oh, there's no such program.
Wow, okay.
And unfortunately, my social worker suffered a very huge loss in the middle of my case. He lost his son. and he took not even a month off of work and came back into work after losing his son. And in my personal opinion, I think that he was not able to fully do his job the way he should have because he was grieving for his son.
Mm.
Because he needed time to grieve, in my personal opinion. And he took too much personal interest in my children. He wanted to adopt 2 of my children, come to find out. But he's a wonderful social worker. He really is. I just think that at that time he was going through a really rough time and he couldn't handle it very well. And I don't hold it against him. As a matter of fact, my plans were to go probably in the next few months and go to him and thank him, because he did my children. This is one of the hardest things for me to actually admit out loud, is my children needed to be taken away.
Okay.
I wasn't being smart. I wasn't raising them how they needed to be raised. I was still caring for them. I was policy council representative for OESD, Head Start, and ECAP. Den leader for Cub Scouts. I went to every school function with my children.
How old were you then, Jasmin?
But they deserved better. They didn't deserve to be in the same environment that I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what made the decision in my head when I relinquished my rights. They needed to be stable. They needed to be able to thrive. And they needed to be able to feel safe and secure. And I couldn't provide that for them. I could barely take care of myself at the time, let alone them. So I decided to let another family raise them. And that was one of the best decisions I could have made in my life. My children are doing wonderful now.
So do you have contact with them? Do you have updates?
I get 2 picture email updates a year of my younger 2.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No
it went
worries.
dark for a second.
No worries.
And at this time, that's all I get is the picture updates. I have to move to my car.
Right now, we are interviewing Jasmin Hernandez. She is telling her story of homelessness and what she went through. Is a painful story to listen to. Cynthia Brady says to make sure you had a fair shot in getting clean and having your children. That was a continuation from her last statement. And she also says they do things different with different people. There are several CPS stories that would make you cry. Did they offer you counseling? Did they offer counseling to you and your children? Separation anxiety, PTSD, etc. Did any of those things, were those things offered to you at all?
Kids at Mental Health was one of the requirements. And I went there and they really didn't help much. They did no new evaluation. They went based on an evaluation that was done 12 years prior. So I felt like they weren't properly able to treat me, because they weren't actually trying to treat me. They were just trying to push me out the door, is what it felt like. I had an 8-hour psychological exam and parenting component done by a CPS appointed psychiatrist that diagnosed me with things way different than KMH did.
Okay.
But that's as much as they did, as they diagnosed me. They didn't, nobody helped me with getting counseling for it and treatment for it. And I was told to do a lot of things, but never given the proper tools to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. A question that I have for you is did you have any friends or family in the area? It didn't sound like you had a lot of kind of support around you. Can you speak on that a little bit?
A lot of my friends, they had to turn away from me because I was choosing to stay with somebody that was not treating me properly.
Okay.
I'm just going to say it like that.
All
I'm
right.
not going to be any specifics. But they couldn't watch me be in pain.
That's definitely understandable. I understand that. Uh, Shaylin Houston
My
says the system and everyone involved failed you and your kids. You made the ultimate decision to be a parent first by honoring your children. A mother's love is priceless.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Shaylin, for those words of encouragement. And Cynthia says, I hear they dose people up so much that they can barely function. Was that your experience? Was that one of the things that you went through?
Um, I didn't personally go through that. My soon-to-be ex-husband, on the other hand, did. He, they had him on so many medications that during his visitations, he couldn't even stay awake to visit with his children.
Wow.
Yeah, and that affected his case real bad on his end. So I don't know what could have been done differently, if something could have been done differently. All I know is that I felt like I was alone, and didn't matter what I did, I wasn't going to get those kids home, and I wasn't going to find a place to live. I won the Section 8 lottery in 2016, early 2016,
Okay.
but the wait list and everything, I didn't finally get my voucher until last year,
Wait,
I believe
wait.
it was.
So you got awarded the lottery in 2016, but you didn't get your voucher until last year?
Yes. Well, not, it was the end of,
2019?
yes.
So 3 years to get your voucher. So explain that process, please. How does that work? You must qualify for Section 8, I assume, right? And then you apply
Yes.
for Section 8, and then it's a lottery system because so many people need it. Am I accurate so far? And so they
Yes.
decided to go to a lottery system to try to make it equitable. And if your number's called, then what happens? Take it from there.
If your number's called, you're put on a wait list. And slowly, as the places open up, the list gets shorter. In 2008, in 2017, we were told that they were still helping people that had won the lottery in 2015. They hadn't even started housing anybody that had won the 2016 yet.
Okay, again, to be clear, so you're awarded in 2019 from a lottery that you won in 2016, but they
Correct.
still haven't awarded people from all the people from 2015 at that time in 2019. So at that
Correct.
point, who knows when they're going to even get to your year and then you get housing.
And then you get the finally get awarded the voucher, and you only get 4 months to find a place in their guidelines, and you can't pay over it. It has to be in that price range that they give you. Okay, try finding a 1-bedroom or studio in 2019 for less than $701.
Oh, I just gave you the stats, right? The average in and the stats are here, folks. Let me just show you this. This is from the Homelessness in Kits app, so I'm not pulling these numbers from out of my mind. These are the actual stats, right? So the average rent per unit in Kitsap County in March 2019 was $1,400. So if her voucher was for $700, yeah, good luck finding that. Shaylin Houston says a lottery for a wait list.
Yes.
Okay, that's insane. Let me go back up. I had to go out of order and read that because that's exactly what's going through my mind. Like my mind is like just exploding right now with I don't even understand how this makes sense. And then now we can definitely see how there's this huge issue. So it's like, hey, well, where are all these social programs? Well, they exist. Oh, we'll get Section 8. We'll go and do this and go and do that. Well, hey, it's 2019 and we're trying to fund people back from 2015 and housing prices are skyrocketing. So these people not only do they win the lottery to get on the wait list, but they're losing their voucher because they can't find a viable space in 4 months. And then what happens? You go back into the list and hopefully win the lottery again. Is that how it works?
No, if you do not find a place within that 4 months, that voucher's gone. I lost my voucher for Section 8 because I could not find a house that was in the price range that would accept Section 8. So I watched what I had been hoping for, my dreams, my everything just disappear because I couldn't find a place.
And I think it's fair to say that this is a dream for hundreds of thousands of Americans across country waiting to get the voucher for Section 8 and to finally get it and still not be able to use it is destructive.
It made me want to give up. It made me, what's the point of even trying anymore? I try so hard and so much that I finally get something and it's ripped from underneath me. And you know what? It's almost as if at the time I didn't want to be here anymore. After losing that, I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to deal with life anymore. I've been homeless for 7 years. Finally have a glimpse of home just for me to not be able to. And that's all I want anymore, is to have a home that I miss paying bills. I miss being able to put stuff in cabinets and putting stuff away. But at the same time, I don't know if I can live in a home anymore. I'm seriously scared to be indoors. I don't know if I could sleep in a house and be comfortable anymore. I really don't. And it sucks feeling that way. But at the same time, all I want is a home. I've had jobs and I've lost them because I can't keep my uniforms clean. I'm not well rested, tired because I don't have a place to sleep at night. So because I'm homeless, I can't keep a job, let alone get a job when you're homeless.
Mm.
It is so hard to get a job when you're homeless.
And it
I
sounds
got a
like you
job
were
at Burger
working
King.
multiple jobs, right, at one time?
Yeah, it's as if being homeless wasn't hard enough. Trying to get back up on our feet is even harder because we get kicked right back down so many times. But how many times are we supposed to be kicked down before we won't get back up? And I've been pretty strong. I've watched a lot of people be kicked down and not get back up. And I've lost a few really good friends because they couldn't handle it out here anymore. And nobody was out there to help them.
Jasmine, let me read the chats because I mean they're coming in. Um, this is the reality, folks. This is the stripped away, the veneer, the varnish that is put on homelessness. When this interview started, Jasmine, and she hasn't driven anywhere, right? She is in her car where she's sleeping. And for those of you that know Kitsap County, it looked like you were kind of above the Sunfjord over the freeway. Is that correct?
I think so. Where
The
I'm
West Side Viewpoint Park,
the West Side Viewpoint Park.
the International.
It's at the International.
Now,
Right over the freeway, though, yes.
we got a call, G2 got a call last night as the emergency shelters opened because it dipped down below freezing. So, I mean, are you guys able to keep your car running all night? I would assume probably no, because that would run through your gas and there's no money there. So you're literally in freezing conditions sleeping in a vehicle. That is broken
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. And it not only is it broken down, um, it is not legal to be on the road, I guess, is what you would say. It's my tabs are from 2018. The vehicle was given to me and my ex by a friend of ours. He never registered it in his name before giving it to us.
So you can't
So
even get the tabs.
no. We're in the process of trying to get a hold of the previous owners to try to get it transferred into my name.
So if law enforcement wants to, they could take the car and impound it.
Yes. At any time they could do that. I have been pulled over several times because of the tabs. Each time I'm pulled over, it's $1,300 in tickets.